4:38, 22 away now from 5 o'clock. Ozarks today rolling on here on News Talk 1150, 97.5, 104.9 KRMS. Happy Wednesday to you. Thank you for coming along, spending part of your hump day with us. We are going to spend the next several minutes talking with the 2nd District Commissioner of Camden County, Cliff Luber. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kelley. How are you?
Great. Glad you're here with us today.
Thank you.
When we talked yesterday, you had a letter that you had sent out to all the media talking about fiscal responsibility and the reasons that it's not a good idea for raises for county employees. Give us a little bit of a background behind why you've put this letter out.
Well, here's the thing. You know, we have been watching the budget and the economy for several years. The economy nationally is only, at 3.5%. Next year, they're 3.25%. And we're probably running about $3 million behind in revenue from 2008, when everything was going good and everything tanked in 2009. So what has happened during those times is we have lost a lot of revenue, and as a result, we've kind of gotten behind in our roads, gotten behind in replacement of older vehicles from the Sheriff's Department and road and bridge. And at some point, we have to make that up. So what has taken place here, when you look at the economy this year, we're up 3%, which is about $300,000, maybe $250,000, and then we're actually flat in terms of use tax, which is sales tax money we get from the purchase of new vehicles and boats and trailers and four-wheelers and things like that. And what I have said that is before, and I said this back in March when this first started being discussed by the commission, that we really need to take a look and to have a job study done in the lake area, and have a study done with private businesses and local county governments, within the Tri-County area, and let's get an idea exactly where does Camden County sit in terms of the benefit packages, the hourly rates, et cetera. And that was agreed to by all of the commission at that time. And my opinion is that we are doing pretty good when you look at the private businesses here in the county that are struggling to keep their doors open. They haven't rebounded from the recession. They haven't been able to give pay raises and restore benefits. And I think it's important that everything remain constant, and you have to be comparable to the private businesses, and you also got to know where you are in terms of revenue and expenditures. A lot of people say, well, the Sheriff's Department, the younger deputies need more money. Absolutely, they do. But here's what folks don't know. Okay, there's a thing called a state fund. Okay, and this is funded by summons services. Deputies perform summons services across the state. They get a small percentage that goes into this state fund. So, and what this fund has done is it guarantees that every deputy will make $28,000 a year.
In the state?
In the state, okay? So our younger deputies are making $28,000 a year right now. So when the county comes in and gives that $1 an hour pay raise that we gave, which is $650,000 every year going forward, okay, when that gets reported to the state fund in June, so all these deputies that got this $1 an hour raise that are making less than $28,000, the state fund is going to reduce the raise that they got by the exact amount and keep them at $28,000. So what the county essentially did is they took money out on the front steps of the courthouse and they burned it, because when the raises or when the salaries of the younger deputies were being offset by the state fund, okay, it's being paid for not out of the county taxpayers. When we did this raise, and the majority of those raises went to the Sheriff's Department and to Road and Bridge, they're our two biggest agencies within the county. The money we picked up and started paying something we didn't have to pay. And for that reason, I think we need to be a little more careful about how we spend our resources. And I'm simply saying that our sales tax is not looking very good. We're still far behind. And to give a raise in a $650,000 raise in the same year that you're going to then make cuts, I think is careless, and I think it shows a lack of fiscal responsibility, and that needs to change.
So basically, good money was traded for great money, basically, because you aren't going up any with the salaries of the ones in the sheriff's department. Mm-hmm. So you just basically told the state, we don't need some of your help.
That's exactly what took place when the two commissioners voted for this. And here's another.
Did they have knowledge of this? Did Commissioner
Absolutely.
Thomas and Commissioner Hasty have knowledge of this going in?
Absolutely. You know what? I was very respectful, but was also very cautious in explaining to them, given the state of the economy, both locally, nationally, and where we are as a county. I said I would be open to a supplemental pay benefit for the employees in October or November. Let's get through the summer. I said this back in March. Let's get through the summer, make sure we have a good sales tax year, and I'd be more than happy to give a good supplemental pay to the employees. But what they've done is now they have created a situation where we took $200,000. Here's another thing. The 2015 budget was pretty much finished up in 2014. No raises were added into that budget. Get into 2015, you got a new commissioner comes in, and all of a sudden we're going to give a 5% pay raise. I said, can't afford a 5% pay. We really need to be careful about where we are in our finances. They agreed to the salary study. Salary study didn't happen. They went ahead and gave the raises anyway. So we had to come up with $200,000 out of the 2015 budget where it wasn't even budgeted. And now into the 2016 budget, now we have to come up with $650,000 every year to continue to afford this raise.
So where does that money come from? Where did the $200,000 come from?
Came out of general revenue.
Okay. So is the $650 also coming out of general revenue?
Well, it's going to what's taken place is over the last couple years. Last year we had this problem. Insurance company came to us. Health insurance company said, "Look, we have a 29% rate increase for you, $380-some thousand. Two commissioners, myself and Commissioner Thomas, said we can't afford that. So what we did was we did the only thing we could do. We started looking for alternatives, and that's when we came up with a company that does a self-insured plan as a third-party administrator. And by the way, the insurance carrier we had at the time also said you can expect a similar increase the following year. So it's no secret that we were tight on finances, 1-2 years ago, and then we turn around and we give this $650,000 pay raise. And we have to have some fiscal responsibility because, you got to have a rainy day fund.
Right. And
now we learned, as I said in the letter, now we've ended up cutting, I'll get to that in just a second, where we started, we had $260,000 from the Sheriff's Department Vehicle Replacement Fund was cut. Now, we were just starting, they probably got 50, 75 vehicles there, okay? And from 2008, when the economy went bad, or 2009 to current, they had a lot of old vehicles. So it took some time to replace them. So over the last 2 years, we've been, getting rid of the older vehicles because they cost us a lot to maintain. They're unsafe because, they run these vehicles at high speeds.
Right.
And we start getting up over 125, 150,000 miles. They develop stress cracks, and they're not safe for the deputies. So, the $260,000, which probably would have brought us up to where most of the vehicles would have been replaced, got cut. The sheriff wanted 4 school resource officers. 3 of those schools are in my district, Max Creek, Climax Springs, and Stoutland. I think those officers are long overdue to be back in those schools, but also it gives the folks in these particular areas a deputy where if something serious does happen in relative proximity of the school, they can respond. So they didn't get those 4, and then there was 3 open deputy positions that were there, but they were funded, but they hadn't been filled yet. They got cut. 3 road and bridge positions couldn't be funded. They were cut. And when I came into office, I've worked very hard to get road and bridge where it needed to be. proper equipment, proper staffing. And then now this year, there's 3 open positions that were funded, were cut. We took our new equipment line, as again, this goes back to replacing the older vehicles. That was at $400,000, went to $150,000. And what people need to understand in my district is that when these cuts take place, I have 95% of the gravel roads in my district. Commissioner Thomas has, 95% of the asphalt roads. And I brought a map here for you to take a look at. It's in green and purple, and I asked the IT guys to put this on our website, camdenmo.org today. And if you look at this map, you can see the huge disparity of my district is centered in green, and the first district is centered in purple.
And basically the first district, which is Bev Thomas's district, most of Camdenton, all of Osage Beach, going up to the Miller County line, basically all areas along Highway 54, the north side of it, until you get into Osage Beach, and it takes them both sides of 54. That's basically pretty much it. And we do have to take a break, but there's a couple more things I want to get with you here in just a second, Cliff, so stick with me. It is 4:49. Let's get a check of the markets.
I'm Bruce Vail with your Money Now. Stocks posted gains early in today's trading session, but they failed to hold up through the afternoon. At the close of trading, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 75 points at 17,492. The NASDAQ Composite also fell 75 points. The S&P 500 slid 16 points. Shares of Norwegian Cruise Lines fell 1.5% to 57.03, following a downgrade by Goldman Sachs. The bank also cut its price target on the stock to $50 from $60. Dow Chemical and DuPont are in advanced merger talks. A tie-up of the two chemical giants would cap off the strongest year ever for takeovers. A deal announcement could come soon and would be followed by a three-way breakup of the combined company. Shares of both Dow Chemical and DuPont closed up nearly 12%. That's your Money Now.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $28 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-513-0258. That's 1-800-513-0258. 1-800-513-0258. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
News Talk 1150 and 97.5 KRMS is now broadcasting worldwide over the internet. Made possible in part by Clearwater Carpet Cleaning. Just go to krmsradio.com.
The downed Russian plane in Egypt.
Explosion caused by a bomb.
This is a new chapter for ISIS.
News Talk 1150 KRMS.
4:52, 8 minutes away now from 5 o'clock. It's Ozarks Today. We are speaking with 2nd District Camden County Commissioner Cliff Luber, talking about some of the financial issues that could be facing the county if the raises that have been approved continue on like they have. And you and I were talking, Cliff, during the break. If these raises continue on, where is the money going to come from? And is there a way to stop these raises from happening? Can you go backward and not allow these raises to go through?
Anything could be voted back, but I think you send a really poor message if you did that. But, the important thing, in my view, is this. We've been told by the auditor's office, yes, we'll get through this, but we're going to have to be lean for the next couple years. So what that tells me is that the Sheriff's Department and the Road and Bridge Department, again, are going to have some pretty continued substantial cutbacks. Let me give you two quick things that's getting ready to drop here at the lake. And I don't want to get into the reasons why, because I don't want to get into the old assessor here. But, I got a call from a constituent friend of mine who lives in Port Achima, and he pays $5,300 a year in property taxes. He got his tax bill this year, Kelley, over $12,000. 100% increase. And what I'm being told took place is that there was a lot of pressure coming from the state where they wanted the assessed values to be more in line with the actual fair market value of these homes. So what I see happening is there's going to be a huge increase as these homes become assessed, and I'm afraid that's going to have a devastating impact on the housing market here, because a lot of folks, they can buy a nice home here, they can retire, the taxes are low compared to where they move from, and I'm concerned what it's going to do to the secondary housing market. Another thing is that the commission, and I'm not in favor of this at all, and I don't want to get involved in this, but the commission is now wanting to license over nightly rentals for people that are renting their homes. Now, a lot of people rent their homes, that they're 10 years out from retiring, and they come down here.
Kind of like a business license.
They do. Well, here's the thing. But when you open up that can of worms, not only are they going to have a business license, then they're going to be subject to health department inspections, going to be subject to wastewater inspections, liquor inspections, and parking inspections. Most condos only allow 2 parking places per condo. Mm-hmm. And what I said to the commission is, how much do you plan to grow the Camden County government by having to enforce all these regulations? And I don't want any parts of it, and I will not support that.
Okay, so a lot going on.
There is.
We've got about 1 minute left. When you were talking about the size of your district and the area of your district, you made a very interesting comment that you have 95% of the gravel roads in Camden County. Bev Thomas is 95% of the paved roads, because most of hers takes in the larger cities of Camdenton and Osage Beach. What's going to happen to the roads?
They're going to do what Road and Bridge has done for the last 11 months. They're going to continue to deteriorate, and because they're not going to have the money to fix them. However, they had money this year for $200,000 for raises, but then took the $200,000 and almost $300,000 that I've worked for 3 years to get into a new line asphalt budget and a chip and seal budget to finally start hard surfacing some roads in the rural areas of the county, because those folks pay taxes too, and they have a right to have better roads. They pay for it and they expect it. Okay. And quite frankly, they're being ignored.
Okay, so this looks like it is far from being over, but hopefully the money's made of rubber. You can stretch it a little bit more and just keep it going as much as you can.
It's stretched pretty thin.
All right, Cliff. Hey, thanks for being with us. This is an interesting problem that is going on in the county, and we'll keep people updated on it.
You know what? You can't give employee raises in the same budget year and then make cuts in the same budget year to county services. It's just careless, and I appreciate you letting me know. It's good seeing you again.
Yeah, same here, Cliff. Thanks for being with us. It is 4:57, 3 minutes away now from 5 o'clock.